All right, December is just the beginning of the cold and flu season, but your coughing and your fatigue could be a sign of something else. Here to talk about an often overlooked condition called NTM lung disease is Dr. Julie Philley and the president of NTM Info and Research Incorporated, Philip Leitman. Welcome to the Morning Blend, both of you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Doctor, let's talk first a little bit about NTM lung disease. What are the symptoms of this?
Sure. Well, NTM stands for nontuberculous mycobacteria, and this is a type of lung infection that can occur from bacteria that are common in our environment. Symptoms can include chronic cough, meaning a cough that simply won't go away, sometimes despite antibiotic treatment, fatigue, weight loss, and some patients can even cough up blood.
How are people exposed to it, or where?
That's a great question. So first of all, we live around these types of bacteria. Fortunately, it doesn't make the majority of us sick. What we do understand is that the numbers are on the rise, and we anticipate actually diagnosing about 100,000 new cases in 2018 alone. The environmental sources of this is water and soil. So we see this in tap water. We can culture this from shower heads, from water faucets, hot tubs, things like steam showers and steam saunas. We also can find this in soil, and things like common potting soil actually may harbor these types of bacteria.
Is there a certain part of our population who's more at risk than others to contracting this disease?
We do see this. It is more common in women than in men, and it is common in the older population rather than in younger populations. We do see this in certain patients with weakened immune systems and in people with underlying lung disease such as COPD and another lung condition called bronchiectasis. But the reality is sometimes people can contract this disease and we don't understand why.
Should people be tested for it if, for example, they have a chronic cough and it doesn't improve?
I think increasing awareness is important, and this should be on people's radar when you do have a chronic cough that does not improve despite the traditional medical treatments. I think early diagnosis is so important. Number one, it can make people feel better. There are treatment options available that can significantly impact and improve people's lives, but also early diagnosis can prevent lung destruction from occurring in the future.
Philip, let me ask you, your wife had NTM lung disease, correct?
Yes.
What was her experience like? What were the first signs that there were a problem?
It's interesting, Dr. Philley mentioned, cough that doesn't get better. Fern had a cough for a number of years, was treated with a single antibiotic, it'd get better for a short while, then it'd get worse again. So that did result in some damage to her lungs. When she was diagnosed, we knew we needed to tackle it. She wanted to deal with this, so she was put on multiple antibiotics for an extended period of time. We learned to do airway clearance and other things to keep her healthy. And she had a good quality of life for most of the 18 years after diagnosis.
So your wife, did she die from this disease?
She died with the disease. Some other things had happened. We don't know how much was related to her having long-term illness, but she passed away in 2014. But before she passed away, she started the effort to put NTM on the map, so to speak, to create awareness nationally about it. Fern was one who decided to develop the very first website, which was ntminfo.org. That is still being updated. Patients use it, some doctors use it. Another excellent website, aboutntm.com. That's something that patients have today that we didn't have in the early 90s when Fern first became ill. So hopefully patients will look at the resources, understand that they can empower themselves and be diagnosed earlier.
Yeah, Philip, I appreciate you sharing your story. I'm sorry to hear about your loss, and I appreciate the fact that your wife felt that awareness was important and that she brought this to our attention. I had never myself heard of NTM until today. So I appreciate, again, the things that you've said. And Doctor, thank you so much for your time also.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, both of you. And again, that website that Philip just mentioned is aboutntm.com.